some basic like moving an object, copying, rotating, and scaling an object. You can either open up a blank file, or you can open up this one, the useful shortcut keys. Just to start off with, I'm going to make a square or a rectangle. And right now I can see that I have the fill is colored and the stroke is black. Because over here again, I have the fill, the saying that it's white, and the stroke that it's black. So I can switch these out to have a color on the inside. If the color over here, instead of it being black, if you actually select this one where it says none, that means you have nothing on the inside. Here, let me change the stroke. I just double clicked. So I have this, but the fill still has this red line through here, and it doesn't allow me to select anything because there's nothing in here. The only thing I can select is along the line itself. But I'm going to change the fill and the stroke just by clicking this little arrow. And now I have this as a set color. I can change this if I wanted to by just moving this slider and select something different. All right, so to move an object, come over here and just make sure you're on the selection tool and just click and drag. And you can drag this object anywhere you want. As you're clicking and dragging, if you want to make sure that you're only moving this up or down or left and to the right, and you want to make sure it's essentially moving orthogonally, either on a PC or a Mac, hold down the Shift button as you're moving it. So as you're starting to drag it, just hold down the Shift button, and it either moves it directly to the left or to the right at a 45 degree or up or down. And this essentially just locks it along those three orthogonal lines. To rotate, if you move your mouse over these corners, which by the way, if you don't see these corners, if it looks different, you're probably in a different mode. If it looks something like this, if you're on the selection tool and you're seeing these blue dots, you're in a different mode. And if you just come over here to view, show bounding box, it should look like this. So now I'm going to rotate this object. I'm going to move my mouse close to one of these four corners. And when I do, I'll see my icon change to an arc. And as soon as it changes, that means I'm allowed to rotate the object. And it rotates it around the center of the object. Again, if I hold down the Shift key, it constrains it to every 45 degrees. Or I can let go of the Shift key, and I can rotate it wherever I like. I'm going to hit Edit Undo. And now I'm going to scale the object. So again, if I hover over this, and I'm just really paying attention to the way the icons change. So if I click on one of these corner boxes, I can start to scale the object however I want, or I can scale it back up. Again, if I hold down the Shift key as I'm scaling it, it keeps my object proportional. I could also click on these icons here to scale the object. If I want to copy an object, so over here it says copy object on a Mac. Hold down the Option key while you're moving it. If you're on a PC, hold down the Alt key while you're moving it. So right before I start to move it, I'm holding down the Option key, and I drag it out of the way, and I'm able to copy it. Two different ways of using the, I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller, the rotate command, rotate tool and the scale tool. Here, if you come over here, I can see the rotate tool. If it might be hidden underneath the reflect tool. So I click on the rotate tool. If I don't want to rotate around the center, but that's the default, I can just drag this somewhere else. and now I'm able to rotate it just clicking right outside. Or I can drag this point somewhere else and let's see, select the object, rotate. I can drag it on the outside, for example, and now I'm rotating it around this center point. Or I could also use the scale tool, which is right next to the rotate tool. Just in case it's hidden under one of these other tools, it's just right over here. Just click and hold down, scale tool. One way I can use this is by double clicking and saying, well, I know exactly I want this to be scaled 125%. Hit OK. And now it's scaled it up exactly the way I want it to. I could also use the rotate tool the same way. Double click. If I want this rotated a specific amount of degrees, I can tell it exactly how much I want it rotated, and I can rotate it that way as well.